my peeps. Huh. Quick update. As you can see, we're not going to have the midday live stream because I'm on here asking a whole different question from this morning. So the live stream that I spoke about, that's going to take place later tonight regarding CERN and regarding what is in the water. That's going to go down tonight. In the meantime, in between time, I have a question. hmm I have a question. Is it a perp or nah? Is it a perp or nah? Small talk at the Walgreens. So I went into the Walgreens a few minutes ago and came out. But as I'm going to the checkout, going through the checkout line, there's an older gentleman that is walking somewhat behind me, and so he says, "Oh, I like your camouflage that you have on." And I was like, "Oh, okay, thank you, thank you." Because I'm not rude, I'm gonna say thank you. And so he had camouflage on too, but it wasn't like I have like certain prints that I like to wear. And I know some people who are chosen, who are TIs, they get gang stalks or perps use camouflage. I guess that's one of their color coding, but actually camouflage is not necessarily a color per se. It's a camouflage. It's a pattern. But some people I've heard say that some of their perps wear they wear camouflage. Anyway, um, so the man is like, I like your camouflage, and I'm like, oh well, thank you. So he has camouflage on too, but his camouflage is hunting gear. If you guys are around small towns, or if you're around places that have farms, people who own farms, you'll see a lot of people who wear hunting camouflage. It looks like leaves, and they're green and got a little orange, all those colors in it. So you'll know hunting camouflage if you lived around these particular areas, because a lot of people wear this type of gear on the regular, like everyday gear. Like I'm wearing, army camouflage because I like it. So he has this type of camouflage on. I'm asking the question: is this a perp or is this or not? Okay. So he just, sparks up a conversation with me by complimenting me on my camouflage. So I compliment him back, and so I actually was cutting in front of him when we were walking in the line because he had a bag. If you know how Walgreens is set up, their photography studio is towards the back, not the back, but the side adjacent to the checkout lines, right? And so he was coming from that angle, and I actually kind of came out of one of the aisles, and so that's why I say I thought I cut him off. And so when we were talking, he was, talking about his camouflage or whatnot, and then talking about he loves to hunt, and he hunts for birds, and he has 5 shotguns, right? And I'm like, oh, really? Now, see, I'm the type of person, I don't care if you're a perp or not, okay? I like information. I'm an information type person, okay? So I said, "Oh, you have 5 shotguns, do you?" Because see, that's the wish list. That's my next check mark that I want to make on the wish list. And if you guys were with me when I went to the academy, I took you guys on a quick field trip to the academy. That is one of the things that I looked at. It was a beautiful. It was not like Granny Mae shotgun, y'all. It wasn't like that. It was streamlined, okay? Streamlined. So that is just another one of my checklists. So when he said he had 5 shotguns, so I'm listening to him talk, and I was like, oh, okay. And so I was like, oh, well, do you need to check out? He was like, no, 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 go ahead, go ahead. So I check out real quick. So he's constantly, standing in line talking to me about his shotguns and how long the barrel of a shotgun is to be to be legal. Okay. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't realize a shotgun had a certain limit. I do know of sawed off shotguns. Like you can't own sawed off shotguns, but that was information I knew a long time ago. I don't know if you can own those now. I haven't even looked that up. But yet and still, I checked out, and so I thought he was getting ready to check out. He didn't check out. He was like, "Oh no, ma'am," telling the clerk, I was just talking to this lovely lady, right?" And so then I'm like, "Okay, this is it a perp or no?" And so we walk out the store together, and he's still talking about these shotguns. And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, but if you got any type of weapons or anything, if somebody come in your house or anything, and if you shoot them, in Texas you can. Now, mind you, I already know this information that he's getting ready to spill out of his mouth. Okay, I already know the 411. And you too should know if you own any weapons that are deadly. But mind you, every weapon is deadly. But I'm talking about in the court of law, what they consider as a deadly weapon. That's why I didn't put it in the title. You got to read between the lines. When I put that "pal" there, you should already know what's going down. Um, if you're gonna own it, you should know the laws in your state if you can own a weapon, and what would happen if you shot somebody if they cross your threshold. Now, as for me being of a chocolate persuasion, okay, it don't matter. Regardless, if there's any type of legal protection, because you see, they gon' bend the rules regardless. We saw that with the Bowman. If that's I think that's his last name. Rest in peace. Forgive me if I'm saying your name wrong. We saw that with the Bowman case. Okay, with the young man who was in his own house chilling when that young police officer came into his residence and shot him while he was eating ice cream. Okay? And it took forever for them to prosecute her. Okay? We saw that with so many others, with the young lady, the chocolate persuasion, the Jake, that was asleep in her own bed, and police came into her home, wrong address, and shot and killed her. Y'all recall these two incidents. And I want you to understand, it don't matter as a persuasion of chocolate. We can come in caramel all the way. We can come in vanilla if you like. You just won't know that we Jake, okay? Because it's some black folks that look white, okay, but they are actually black folks. We can come in all shades, and it really doesn't matter if you have all these forms of protection that this man was speaking about, right? In Texas, there's something called a oh shoot, I can't remember the name now, but I know it. I have all the information regarding this. It's like somebody, if you shoot somebody, and in Texas we have legal rights to carry, right? If you're not a criminal, if you're law abiding, you have legal rights to carry a firearm. You can carry it openly. You can or concealed carry, right? And so, but if you shoot somebody, a lot of people have this conception like if you shoot somebody and they come in your home, that you're off scot free. Well, in some states, that's not the case. They want to know what happened, why you shot them, and sometimes they want to lock everybody up until they figure out what went down in the house. Okay, this is in some states. This is not all states, but some states go through that process. Um, the legal, what is it called? It's called the legal Texas Legal Association or something like that. Anyway, it's just like where I work at. Every year we we have benefits, right? So, like, I have benefits for lawyers. You pay a certain amount. Your dental, health benefits, all of that. We have that where I work. This is something like that. So, if you get this Texas legal, what is it? I have the cards at home. I have to show you guys. You should check into it in your own states if you're carrying, because I mean you can have it, but that does not mean. And I'm saying this for people who are of African American, quote end quote, so-called African American persuasion. You can have this type of insurance, and what it does is it's a team of lawyers at your beck and call. So say if somebody came into your home and you shot them, and they want to take you to jail, they want to see what went down or whatever. Although you're legally in your rights to shoot somebody if they cross your threshold, uh, these team of lawyers, your first phone call could be to this team of lawyers, right? And then boom, you don't have to say a word. Don't say another word. Let me tell you something. First and foremost, I'm gonna tell you something right now. For anyone, if something goes down with the law and you are not abreast on the law, keep your mouth shut. Okay? A lot of people think that by talking will get them out of some kind of situation with law enforcement. But what you're doing is you're indicting yourself. Okay, you're giving them information to hold against you, even if you haven't done anything. I just wanted to put that out there. I just wanted to put that out there. And I'll give you a for instance. But I was like, is this a perp or is this, because in my life I've had people come into my life and tell me things or remind me of things um or just because of the situation, what is at hand, what the the temperature and the pressure is getting more and more intense with the state of the United States, with the state of the affairs that are going on in the United States, as far as financial, as far as and I just say financial because that covers every gamut, right? Um, with people starting to do things that they normally wouldn't do. People will start to do things. Understand me, Superman. People will start to do things that they normally would not do. Your nice neighbors, if you even talk to your neighbors as chosen ones, as TIs, um, when push comes to shove, might be the first ones trying to knock down your door. You see, when the there's no more food in the stores, when things start getting real around here. I mean, they're already real for a lot of people because we don't see the families that were already struggling. Okay, so I was like, oh, okay. Let me go on live and see what's up. What do y'all think? Do you think that he was just a perp? Because people, if y'all done caught me on a late night live and I haven't deleted it, you already know. You already know. It's on and popping. I leaves it out just so when they walks in they can see. In Texas we like to display our weapons. Okay, I don't have one of those shotgun racks like the if you have a truck, they like to drive around them F-150s and have a shotgun hanging in the back of the truck, just so people know. Or coming into your house, there's firearm cases. Just so you know, those might be in the cases, but you don't know what else is around this house. Just so those are subliminal, but not so subliminal messages for people. Um, that's how it's done in Texas, because this is just a Republican state. It still has that wild wild west feel about it. People they're not playing around here when it comes to their weaponry. Okay, and so I was like, okay, I don't know, perp or no perp. That is the question. And like I said before, tonight I will be coming back online to do the live stream, because I talked about CERN and what is in the water regarding what's making sharks run out of the water. So that live stream will be tonight. I thought I would make it back and be able to do a midday live stream, but that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen right now. So tonight will be that live stream, and and there was one other thing that when it comes to perp, I wanted to bring up while I have you on this live stream, or you might catch the replay of this live stream about perps, and a situation with a young lady. They call her the McDonald's mom. And I don't know if you guys, that's like a nickname they have given her. And I'm thinking, when I saw what went down, and I'm going to give you the scenario of why they call her the McDonald's mom in a minute, if you don't know her story. I truly believe that she might be that the father of her child might actually be a perp. And now she's kind of like trying to define, talking about CERN, and also CERN and July 5th. That's a Monday. What is the 5th? That's the Tuesday, this Tuesday. CERN reactivated July 5th. And what is in the water? That live stream is going to go down tonight. And then, and just get comfortable, get you some popcorn, get your little snacks. We're going to just do just a comfortable live, but informative, okay? Informative. Like I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by the Texas Sun. McDonald's mom. McDonald's mom, and why they calling her McDonald's mom. And to me, and this is my opinion, I feel that her baby's father may be a perp. And let me just get straight into it. McDonald's mom, they're calling this woman McDonald's mom because she went on a live stream. And I mean, people are debating this all across the internet. I've seen everybody's kind of viewpoint. So I said I'm going to touch on it as well. This woman went on live and said, well, I'm about to expose my baby's daddy because he's bringing, now she has 3 kids. She has, was it 4? Honey, it might have been 3 or 4 children, okay? Don't quote me on this. But I'm going to just go with, she had 2 children before him, before she met the baby's daddy, and then she had a baby after she was in a relationship with the father of the man she said she was going to expose. How was she going to expose this man, you say? Well, he was driving up to the residence, and he had McDonald's food for his child. Okay. So I watched her do this live stream, and at first I was kind of confused on the situation because it did seem rather petty on her end. Why is she exposing this man for bringing food for his child? If she has children by another man, why would that be such a big exposure for him? Because he's providing for his child, right? Anybody would think that way. But if you sit back and realize there's always 2 sides to a story, okay? And so after she, broadcast that he was bringing this food for her one son that she just recently had from him, and not the other two. So on the live stream, she's just going in on him. She's like, uh, I don't get my food stamps until the first of the month, and the other children are hungry. And why did you only bring McDonald's for your son when you know I have other children here? Why are you just bringing McDonald's for your son? Now that sounds reasonable. You'd be like, well, that's because it's his son. Here's where the plot thickens. This is where maturity comes into play. This is where you have to put all the cards on the table, okay? And this is where I stand on the situation as well. From her coming back on live later this week and saying, because you know social media went in on the young lady, especially her being a black young lady, and then with the hatred that is poured out towards black women on all sides. That just did not look good on her behalf, going in on him like that. So when she came back on live, she explained the situation. See, we didn't know the whole story, you see. And I'm gonna go in. And here we go. See, the whole story goes as such. The young lady obviously had already been receiving some kind of assistance, okay? Because she wasn't getting assistance from the other baby's daddy. But before the child that's in question was born, she had already had these other children, these other 2 to 3 children, because I don't know how many are previous, and maybe 2 or 3 children. She may have 4, a total of 4 or a total of 3. But the children that she was so irate about, so upset about, that he did not bring food for the other children, but he only brought food for his son. She says, when I met him, I had these children prior to me having his child, you see. And when I met him and he started living with me, before we broke up, he was providing. He had built a bond with these children I had before I had his child. You see, when the whole story started to come out, you have to sit back and say, well, this just may look, or this just may well be very petty on his part. Why? Because you see, some men were triggered. Oh, very much so. A lot of men were triggered by what happened, because quick, not knowing the whole full story of the McDonald's mom, not knowing her full side. She just turned on the camera and said, I'm getting ready to expose him, like a lot of chosen ones and TIs do when they just turn on the camera and say, you see this red fire truck getting ready to pull up? You see, I told you I'm targeted. I told you. You see how that can look kind of, you see, everywhere I go, it's either a fire truck or it's either the siren. And for somebody not knowing the full story, we'll say, well, this woman is off her rocker. Not knowing the tactics of being gang stalked and what they use, would think I was off my rocker. And that's that's why I say it was that man an actual perp that was sent into her life. And when she turned that video on, we only got to see a glimpse. And boy, did that glimpse trigger black men all across the nation because they went in. You see, that's just like my baby's mama. You see, black women this and black women that. Well, after hearing the full story, I concur that something is amiss. You see, when you as men, I'm going to say you are a man at a particular age and at a particular time in your life, and you choose, you see, because I know Kevin Samuels told y'all the women was choosing and they made the wrong choice. But guess what? You men are choosing too. You men are choosing the woman who you put your penis inside and then without protection, you ejaculate. And you know the story about the birds and the bees. So you have made a choice as well, right? His story is not crystal clear when he tries to make her look like she is off her rocker. But see, that's what the perps do. They try to trigger you. That's what narcissists do. They try to trigger you and make everybody in your family think that you're crazy. Everybody around you think that you are the crazy one, when actually you have pushed someone to the edge. This man came into this woman's life, provided food, lived with this woman, not for months, for years, providing, acting as a stepfather. You see, when you as a man make the decision to date a woman with children, you make the decision to be responsible for these children that you are dating the woman of. Children are not doll babies that you can play with and sit on a shelf. When you decide that you have broken up with the female that you have interacted, engaged with, made a contract with, because sexual intercourse is a marital contract, biblically. You made this contract knowing that this woman, the McDonald's mom that went off and everybody's going in on her, you made a contract. You had sex with this woman knowing she had 2 to 3 previous children, and you kept that contract for 1 to 2 years, or however long. These were years. Children create bonds. Do you understand? Emotional bonds with people. Emotional bonds with people who step into their lives, whether it be their real father or whether it be their stepfather. And let me tell you this. A lot of stepfathers that may not have even been able to have children of their own have closer bonds with children that are not even there, but they have been there from day one. You create bonds with children, emotional bonds. Children do not know how to turn that on and off. So, I ask you, was this man a perp in her life? You see, because perps and narcissists come into your life to destroy your life even further and to destroy anybody that is associated with your life and trust you. They love to destroy children. They love to destroy children. You see, by bringing only his son McDonald's. What message now is he giving to the children that were there prior to him procreating with this woman? The children that were there, who he was feeding on the regular, who he was having dinners with, who this mother was providing or sharing her food stamps with, cooking, or when he had the opportunity to bring McDonald's to the children that were there prior to his son being born. Now that there is a breakup, you see, he only wants to provide for his child. This is where the road divides between man and boy. This right here is the fork in the road between man and boy. Because you see, a man who stepped into the life of a female who already had children prior to him procreating and making a child of his own, had already put those children in a situation to where they considered him as a father figure. Because you see, at every turn in their lives, from that time that he dealt with those children, they had to obey him as a father figure. They had to do as, I don't know what he may have been called, because some people don't like, because the other children's father, as we can tell, weren't involved, so they probably didn't have a problem having the children calling him daddy or whatever they called him. But this is why boys and girls clubs were developed. So children that didn't have father figures could go to a center to have bonds with adult males, adult caregivers, to help them in life, to guide them, in life, to create bonds with. So obviously these are younger children that he created a bond with. And now he wants to rip that bond away and only solely focus on his natural born child. You see, that is where the issue comes in at for me. Because you, sir, are definitely manipulating the situation. You, sir, are now in the torture game. These are young children that don't have the cognitive development to separate that this is my brother's or whatever. I don't know if it was a son or I think it was a son, because she said you're going to bring him some. No, she said you're going to bring your child. So it could be the girl or a boy. But she said, you're going to bring your child some food. The other younger siblings only know that child as their brother or sister. They are not even relating in their mind because they don't have the cognitive development to separate that this is not my brother, because they were there first. You understand? I know it's hard for people who want to point the finger because it looks so good to be able to point the finger. There's another black ghetto woman who wants this man to support her children. It would have been a different story all in and of itself had she not had any children prior to them getting together. Then that video would have been justified on his behalf. If she had no children prior to them meeting and had a baby by him first, and then They broke up, whatever the situation may be. She may have cheated and then constituted or added more children, and now he left. There's a breakup. So there's children after him. Then you can justify saying, yes, in certain aspects, if he had not stayed around, if he had not tried to make it work, if he had got ghost after she had children after his children, and she not had children prior. But that was not the case. And see, people who don't want to use their brains and understand how children think, how children respond. Children don't go around saying, this is my stepbrother, this is my stepsister, when they are brought up in the house together. And all they seen is they were there first. Mommy got pregnant by a guy who's been here, who we've been calling Daddy or Pops or Big Joe, whatever they was calling him. They knew him first as the father figure. And they knew that Mommy got pregnant by Big Joe, Pops, or Daddy. The baby came into existence. They weren't knowing, this is a baby that is now my stepfather, because adults do not talk like that to children. They are in a relationship. They're going on about life. They, at that particular time, were developing a family. The whole scenario is twisted, and it's not twisted. If you really sit back and think about it, it's not twisted in his favor. This was a boy playing house. That's what that was. This was a boy playing house. And now that house time is over, he thinks that he can put those two children who he made a bond with prior to his son coming into this world onto a shelf, parade, food. And if you know anything about food, how food is a tool, and you should know because you're seeing it now with the government using it against you. How food is used as a tool of manipulation. How food can be used as in the form of witchcraft. Okay, food has a powerful hold on people. So by him bringing that McDonald's, one sandwich, one children's size fry, and a drink, and wanting her to feed that in front of her children. Well, now, would you not consider that torture? Well, now, should she now, every time he comes, send her children into another room so that the children that he helped guide and raise prior to his son coming into existence, send them away so this one child can eat? What he is doing now, and what you all may not see, and these men that have so much hate for their baby mamas, they can't see the whole entire story and the whole manipulation, which is witchcraft in and of itself. He's developing his own child either into becoming a narcissist, his very own child. Whether he knows the cycle or how narcissists are created, and because narcissists aren't born, okay? Narcissists are created. Yeah. And there's two ways that narcissists are created. Narcissists are created by spoiling a child, the right to have everything, and the entitlement of it all. Because see, narcissists believe they are entitled to everything they see, they put their mind to, and no is not an option. Spoiling a child creates narcissism in a child, and abuse in a child creates narcissism. That's why you have to have a balance when it comes to developing children as they go through these milestones in life. And not only developing narcissism in his own son or daughter, who he thinks that he's putting on a pedestal by only providing for his child, and in his mindset, in his thinking, and I have to say that his thinking is of a boy. He thinks he's doing the right thing because he's probably heard about, as long as you provide for your child, and his boys, people around him probably don't even know the whole story of how he was with this woman and she had children before he got involved with this woman. Because people are only going to say or tell the story that makes them look good, you see. And only probably a few, maybe one or two, know the real deal of his boys, know that he was with her when she had two kids prior. Because they was probably like, man, you gonna date that? Man, she already got two kids, man. You daddy now? Daddy Joe. Because that's how guys do. Daddy Joe, you daddy now, nigga? Negro, you daddy? That's you. You daddy now. Okay, you gonna be daddy. Okay, daddy. Okay. Handle it, daddy. So he probably had two or three boys who already knew this woman had babies before he got with her, before his child came into existence. So now you could have three young narcissists in development. And people wonder why the world has an increasing level of narcissism. And they don't understand how narcissism is created. They're not born narcissists. They're created and become narcissism because they become empty vessels. The emptiness of entitlement, when you have been given everything and no, it's not an option. See, then you become an empty vessel, and so then therefore you can have demons inhabit you. Same as in an abusive situation as a child. The abuse can damage the child so very much that demons can come in and inhabit that child. And if that child was not able to receive any type of counseling, guidance to handle the abuse, then they start to, the demon basically takes over. And that is your two ways, your two avenues to narcissism development. So I think that the world is so ready to point a finger, but we never want to always hear the full story. We never think about the children, because I didn't hear people concern themselves with the children at hand. No. Their concern was, she gets food stamps. She mishandles the food stamps. That's one of the concerns I heard, or not even it wasn't a concern. It was a downplay on regarding her. Okay, throwing mud at her. Well, you see, the woman was getting food stamps when that man was with her, so he was eating off of those food stamps. That's why I it just pains me the legacy that and the not only the legacy but the destruction that Kevin Samuels left behind, because there were already young boys acting as men, and he fed their hurt, you see, with information that half of it was bogus. Yeah, information that the majority of it was bogus, and it 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 was aimed at the destruction and the degradation of the black woman. And so that information will forever be on the internet. It will forever be ingrained in young boys' minds and immature men's minds. And that is why you had these people saying, well, she misused her food stamp, and it's not his fault that there's not enough food to, feed the children. Okay, mishandling money, mishandling food stamps, same difference. It's called, accountability, being able to account for your finances. And sad to say, a lot of people who live in the hood, a lot of people who are on low income, they are not taught economics, you see. They are not taught money management, you see, because food stamps is basically a different form of money and how to manage it. I'm not giving her a out. I'm just giving you information to before you throw stones. Make sure you understand why you're truly throwing these stones. Not only about not being able to manage her food stamps correctly, her money managing skills, but the economy has greatly shifted. How y'all doing? How y'all doing today? I got two sexes on the side of me. Nice seeing you, partner. I guess they wanted to hear the message. He didn't get out the car. This one ain't out either. So like I was saying, um, she didn't have that skill set, and the economy has greatly shifted. And because I know y'all think I'm acting straight crazy right about now. Bump it. I'm not. And it was another sexy here. I didn't turn it. But they don't get out the car. They just sit there and listen to you. Um, so, uh, the economy has greatly shifted. Okay, and your money managing skills better get tightened up because the prices of food has greatly changed, and it's going to continue to rise. So you're not getting the same bang, bang, bang for your buck. You see, I know you probably think, oh, Nicole, excuses. No, not excuses, just facts that we don't take into consideration. Facts that We're just so ready at every turn to tear down the black woman, and because she was triggered by him bringing that food only for one child when he had developed a relationship with her children prior to him bringing that food. My thoughts and what I would have done, because you see, people like that, which I consider immature, boys playing house, um, I would have took the food and I would have said thank you. I would have went in the house. I would not have given him any reaction. I would have called all three of the children to the table and said, Big Papa, Daddy, as you may know him, Pops brought McDonald's. This is what he could afford right now. So we're going to have a party. We're going to cut the sandwich in three ways, and we're going to split the sandwich and the fries and the drink. This is just a short party. And every time Big Papa brings one sandwich, fries, and a drink, this is what we're going to call our sharing time. We're going to share with each other and be appreciative that Big Papa, Pops, or Daddy, as they may have called him, brought us this food. But by her being triggered, she did not know how to handle the situation. And see, now you would have had three children learning how to share, and her going and getting some better assistance, training on how to manage her food stamps better, the timing of when he brings food or his accommodations for his one child, and how those accommodations will be shared in that household because he knew all of the children. And that's how the situation should have been handled. So that is just my take on the McDonald's mom and how our society, as Jake's black people, we're so ready to tear each other down and point the damn finger and hurt each other instead of coming up with solutions. We'd rather point at other nations and say, well, look at how the white woman behaved. Look at how the Asian woman. Look at how, when you don't know how those women behave in their houses, every Asian woman, every white woman, every white man, every Asian man, what you as black people are dealing with are traumas. And you're running for help. You're screaming for help by saying, look at me, look at me. I am not like the nation of people who I come from. Because you think that you've gotten another nation of woman and that nation of woman is better than the black woman that everybody loves to hate. And then you'll turn around and say, but look at me, I'm a black man. And they're after me. When you don't realize the black woman and the black man are the mother and daddy of all the nations. And you just continue to tear each other apart instead of figuring out ways to build each other up. Uh, Perp, I call him. The McDonald's, not mama, the McDonald's daddy. Perp, young boy. The Walmart man. Well, I'm still on the fence with him because he just may have given me information that he thought I didn't know. Or he may have been a perp and gave me information he thought I needed to know. I don't know. I'm still on the fence with him. So, y'all stay tuned for later on tonight. It's going down. CERN and what is in the water and much, much